International Ice Hockey Federation holds its 17th induction ceremony in Stockholm. The newly inducted members will be acknowledged here today and on the International Ice Hockey Federation Hall of Fame recognition wall in the World Hockey Zone at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto.
Hej, det här är Mats Sundin i Quebec.
Så Sundin.
Ja! Ja! Mats Sundin!
Peltonen odottaa sieltä, että Numminen tulee ja Numminen tinttaa kiekon reppuun. Menee aika sumppuun ja niinpä pelataan hyvä tilanne ja kova laukaus, erinomainen laukaus. Ikipappaa Teppo Numminen. Sinne liukuu maalin edustalle nyt Koivu, mutta sitten tulee Numminen ja kiskaisee upea maalin.
Organizer and Goyette breaking in. Organizer, Goyette, score!
Great goal for Danielle Goyette.
Henderson loses the puck. Here's Sean Mathias with it. Mathias moves behind the goal. Takes a whack at loose. They score! Matt Halishuk with a golden goal for Canada. World Junior Hockey Champions for the 4th year in a row. Well done, guys. We'll be back.
Завладев шайбой в выступлении переходит в советскую хоккеистов. Шайба у Гурушева, он обыгрывает защитника, бросок, гол! Советские мастера хоккея, чемпионы мира 1954 года.
Gamla härliga minnen.
You know, this is what we can do it. Just use it.
The Cornwallier has it on that wing. Here's a shot. Henderson made a wild stab for Spell. Here's another shot. Right by the score. Henderson!
Everybody's having a great time this time. So win or lose, draw, we're having a good time.
Forsberg, Peter. Han gör lite OL-floka rörelser. Hämtar då fart. Hörs möter honom i målet. Forsberg pucken. Han utmanar Hörs, kommer lite grann från höger och så gör han en dragning och så skjuter han. I mål! Mål!
To make it absolutely clear that I'm wearing the Swiss national team colors today is purely coincidental, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, honored and distinguished guests, today you will witness a ceremony the like of which you have never seen before and which you will probably never see again. Our inductees have between them won 22 IIHF World Championship medals and 9 Olympic medals. We have an inductee whose goal defined a nation. Among our celebrity presenters, we have the most decorated player in the history of international hockey, and we have a track and field star who never lost a senior competition. We have the man who runs the world of Olympic sports, and we have the man who runs this country. But first and foremost, we have the man who will run this show for us today. So please welcome our Master of Ceremony, Mr. Paul Romanek.
Thank you so much. It was really a great moment, and these things provide great moments. Standing over there watching that first video run, and you're seeing all these great goals. And I'm standing there, and I'm looking over at Matt Sundin, Peter Forsberg, Paul Henderson, Teppo Newman, and Danielle, and they're watching their own greatest moments. And it's nice to see people smile when they look up at their accomplishments. This is going to be a great day. And on behalf of the International Ice Hockey Federation and the Hockey Hall of Fame, it is my honor to officially welcome you to this ceremony. Thank you so much for coming. There are so many dignitaries here looking down at the rows. It would take a half an hour to introduce all of them. But I would like to honor Mr. Pat Quinn, who is the chairman of the board of the Hockey Hall of Fame, our partners in this venture. Pat was a tough player and a very successful coach, winner as a coach of Olympic gold, a World Junior Championship gold, and World Under-18 Championship gold. Pat, please stand up and be acknowledged. You know, as is always the case with these things, many people have worked very hard to bring this all together, but none have worked harder than those we are honoring on this very special day for excellence, and I mean excellence, in their respective fields. Think of the memories they provided for all of us sports fans. It's been said that those who do most dream most. And I can almost guarantee you that each and every one of our honorees this afternoon, at one time as children, dreamt of doing what they ended up doing. And that in every case, they probably exceeded those dreams. It seems only fitting that we start today's Roll of Honor with the man who proudly calls this wonderful country and this great city home. From Stockholm, Sweden, Mats Sundin, one of the greatest international Swedish players ever. Where do you start? As an 18-year-old, he skates at the brand new Globen Arena in Sweden with some other top prospects during the 1989 World Championship. 2 years later, 20 years old, 1991 World Championship, third period, end-to-end against the Soviets, he scores. His goals were born out of determination to take it to the net with his great size and finish with the precision of a surgeon's fingertips. Mats is an Olympic gold medalist, a three-time World Championship gold medalist, three-time World Championship All-Star, and World Championship MVP in 2003. He led the Olympics in points in 2002. He was an All-Star at the Canada Cup and the World Cup. His touch as a scorer was equaled only by his soft, almost magical passes like this one to Nick Lidstrom, gold medal winning goal at the Olympics. A seven-time captain for Sweden, a legend, the incomparable Mats Sundin. And what a day we have. To formally induct Mats Sundin into the International Ice Hockey Hall of Fame, our guest is most fitting. Couldn't have found a better guy, I don't think. He's a huge sports fan, football, and of course, ice hockey. His ice hockey team is Djurgården, Mats' team. And like Mats, he's a Stockholm boy, so we're keeping it in the family. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the Prime Minister of Sweden, Mr. Fredrik Reinfeldt.
Good to take care of family business, isn't it? Thank you, it's great to be here. What a great video. I think for all hockey lovers, this was really memorable situations. And adding to this, I want to acknowledge Mats Sundin's long career as a team player. This is both true in Sweden and in Canada. As mentioned, personally, I will never forget the first season in Djurgården. I was there, you were there. Stockholm hockey team, that also happens to be my favorite team. I might add that he won the Elitserien, that's the Swedish National Hockey League, that same season. Mats Sundin is truly one of Sweden's greatest athletes, not only because he's extremely skilled in the field, we have seen the picture, that's undeniable, but he's also the kind of athlete that always is willing to go that extra mile, to do that one thing to turn everything around. For me and for most Swedes, one thing clearly comes to mind, also shown in the video, and that's the 2006 Olympics in Turin. Mats Sundin leading Tre Kronor, Swedish national ice hockey team, and in the thrilling final against Finland. It's nothing like finals against Finland, I'm sorry to say. I know what is awaiting tonight. That will be fantastic as well. And assisting in the final goal, as you can see, and bringing the Olympic gold medal home to Sweden. Mats Sundin is the kind of athlete you simply must admire, at least when you're cheering with his team, I might add. So, Mats Sundin, please come and join me on the stage to accept your induction to the IIHF Hall of Fame.
Ja, stort tack statsministern, väldigt fina ord. Thanks to the International Ice Hockey Federation for selecting me into their Hall of Fame. It's a tremendous honor to be part of the international ice hockey history. Congratulations to Danielle, Paul, Peter, Teppo, and Jan-Åke, Gord for their inductions as well. I'd like to thank my wife, Josephine, that's here today, for all the support during my career. Also my parents, Tom and Gunilla, they're here, driving me and my two brothers around the Stockholm area to outdoor rinks, standing in cold, blowing wind all those years. I wouldn't be here without that support. Why is ice hockey the best sport in the world? Because the game demands to play with passion, determination, strong will, and maybe a little bit of madness. As an elite hockey player, you need to play at 100% at all time. If you play at 95%, it's a game where you're going to lose. Hockey demands not only skills like great skating, passing, and shooting, you also need to work on your hockey sense, understanding on the ice where you should be yourself and where your teammates are. You need to learn how to check, and you need to learn how to be able to take a check when someone's coming to hit you. Ice hockey at the first glance looks chaotic and confusing, but in fact, it's a game of planning, system, and discipline. Playing the game of hockey has taught me lessons and formed me in a way that will help me the rest of my life. My best memories being a child watching international hockey was when Sweden won the World Championships in 1987. Thomas Sandström scored the famous goal against the unstoppable Russian team. I would remember jumping up and down in the couch out in Sollentuna outside Stockholm with the rest of my family. A big goal that inspired me to drive even harder to become a great hockey player. Representing Sweden, putting on this Tre Kronor jersey was always a great honor for me. It made me feel like part of something more than just a team. It made me feel part of the nation, Sweden. Thanks to the Swedish Ice Hockey Federation for all the great memories that I've had with you. I also like to thank Conny Edvinsson, who was the coach 1991 for Team Sweden in the World Championships in Finland. He believed that I could make a difference in that team. That tournament became my international breakthrough. Also thanks to J.P. Barry, my agent for a long time, and Claes Elefalk that is sitting here today, took care of my family and myself for all those years. Ice hockey on an international level needs to continue to grow and attract new kids to play and new fans to come and watch our great game. In today's world, the competition to attract fans and kids to play different sports is very tough. Ice hockey here in Stockholm is suffering a little bit from less and less kids that are playing this great game. And it's so important to see Tre Kronor's success in this tournament. Hopefully it will inspire more kids to start playing hockey. And maybe tonight there'll be the new Sundin twins be sitting in the stands watching this great final. Thanks again for everybody. That's it. Thanks.
Wow, what a thrill. I interviewed him when he was 18 years old, coming down to be drafted at the NHL draft. Now he's going to the Hall of Fame. The only thing we have in common now is that we both don't have hair. So, well done. Time for our next honoree. From Tampere, Finland, Teppo Numminen. A career that started with his hometown team, Tappara in Finland, and ended in 2009 after 20 seasons in the NHL. Numminen was a colossus with the national team for so many years, playing in the World Junior Championship, the World Cup, the Canada Cup, the World Championship, and the Olympic Games. He was part of Finland's historic 1988 bronze medal in Calgary, the first time Finland had ever reached the medal podium in Olympic ice hockey. Few lions roared louder than Numminen wearing the blue and white of the national team. He won 2 Olympic silver medals, 1 Olympic bronze medal, a World Junior bronze medal, and was a World Championship All-Star in 1997. The man played 1,372 NHL regular season games, and he was a fan favorite for his great talent and his tremendous work ethic. His number was duly retired by the Phoenix Coyotes in 2010. One of the greatest international defensemen of his era, Teppo Numminen. To formally induct Teppo Numminen into the IIHF Hall of Fame, it seems only fitting we have on hand a man who was his friend and his mentor during his early days at Tappara. The man was the captain of the IIHF World Championship Finnish team of 1995 and was inducted into the IIHF Hall of Fame in 2003. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Timo Juttila.
Thank you, folks, and congratulations to everybody. Teppo was only 16 when he joined to our home team, Tappara. Played 3 years, won 3 times Finnish championships. Then he was his way in Winnipeg, NHL. Teppo was the best defenseman ever. He's been graded in Finland. Teppo is a great guy on the ice, off the ice. Actually, he's a funny guy. The way how he played 23 seasons, 1,372 games, these are the huge numbers. The one biggest thing was that he enjoyed the game, he loved the game, and he played smart. There was no bad injuries or something. Teppo was a smart player. His best part of the game was that he was a team player. The team he played, they succeeded. Teppo is a winner. And play over 20 years in NHL is huge. It's amazing. And then, if you look at the history side, it's also nice to have Teppo as a friend, but Teppo's father has been named already in the Hall of Fame, and now Teppo, Kalevi's son, gonna be named IIHF Hall of Fame. So I mean, that's a hockey family. Teppo, thank you, and please welcome up here.
Thank you. Thank you, Timo, for those kind words. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. It's a great honor to be inducted into the International Ice Hockey Hall of Fame. Congratulations to other inductees entering the hall. of Fame today. It's a very great honor to share the day with you guys, and it's been great to meet all of you. Playing for Team Finland has always been very special to me. It was like going home, very comfortable and exciting. I have great memories while playing for my country. To playing for 4 Olympics and winning 3 medals is something I will always remember. I want to thank all the players, coaches, trainers for all the things and great times we had. I will always be grateful for your friendships. Special thanks to my agent, Don Baisley, who has always been there for me, not as an agent, but as a good friend. I want to thank my brother Teemu and my sister Kirsi for all the support they always gave to me, and my mom and dad for driving me to all the practices in Tampere as growing up. I'm very proud to be in the Hall of Fame with you, Dad. It's really special. And finally, I would like to thank my wife Anne-Marie and my children for all their love and support over the years. I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you so much.
I was fortunate enough to witness firsthand, as a hockey broadcaster in Canada, the real decade of development of the women's game, particularly in Canada and the United States. And I had the pleasure of watching our next inductee play many times. From Saint-Nazaire, Quebec, Danielle Goyette. Danielle was first and foremost a gifted goal scorer and playmaker. During an international career which spanned 15 years, Goyette accumulated goals, assists, and championships. Danielle played in 3 Olympic Games, 9 IIHF Women's World Championships, taking home gold on every occasion but 2. In 61 games played at the highest level of her sport, she averaged 1.5 points per game. She twice led or tied for the lead in scoring at the Olympic Games. She scored 8 goals at the '98 Nagano Olympics, and by the time her Olympic career came to a close, had scored 15 goals, the second highest total of all time. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Goyette's career is that she didn't start competing at the highest level until she was 26. In her final World Championship appearance in 2007, at the age of 41, she was every bit as consistent as she was as a 26-year-old. She actually scored more points in her final World Championship than her first. The Gordie Howe of women's hockey, Danielle Goyette. And she still looks like she could play, I might add. To formally induct Danielle into the IIHF Hall of Fame, we have a gentleman who brings the unique perspective of having coached against her, not with her, but against her many times on the international stage, including the gold medal game of that 2006 Winter Olympics when Canada played a Swedish team that had stunned the heavily favored USA in the semifinal. They called that the Swedish Miracle on Ice. Ladies and gentlemen, the architect of that, Mr. Peter Elander.
Thank you, and congratulations to all the inductees here. Danielle Goyette developed from every year. She was a better player as a 41-year-old as a 26-year-old. When I first coached against Danielle, 2001 in British Columbia, out in Victoria, I had no idea how good she was. 3 days later and 3 hurtful losses later, I have a very good idea. Danielle had about 15 more points in her record book. She was brilliant. In the following 6 years, I coached 27 games against Danielle and her Canadian team. And fortunately for me, she stopped playing 2007, and my therapist was very happy. A little story from the Olympic season 2005 and 6 maybe will tell us why she was so good. We played Canada 10 times that year, And we played in my little hometown down in Sweden with 4,000 people. And the day after, there was an open skate, and myself and my assistant coach challenged some of the Canadian staff members on a pickup game for 10 minutes. Going into that game, we see that Canada has 3 players, we're just 2, and that won't work. Danielle just finished off a volunteer hard workout on their off day, and I went over to her and, Danielle, do you want to help us here? A pickup game, 10 minutes. You will play for Sweden against Canada. The answer was quick, oui. And with Danielle on your team, you win. That's how simple it is. We won that afternoon. No bets were made. This pickup game, it's not why she got inducted today, but it tells us a lot about her passion and love for the game. And the passion and love had nothing to do with gender. That's why we all in this room have to help boys and girls all over the world to play this beautiful sport of ice hockey. We need people who are passionate about hockey. We need people like Danielle Goyette. So Danielle, please join me on stage to accept your induction to the IIHF Hockey Hall of Fame.
It's funny, the game that Peter was talking about, like I still remember like it was yesterday. We had a lot of fun that day. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, first of all, I want to congratulate the other nominees, inducted. It's a great honor to meet all of you guys. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't have any role model as a female hockey player. You guys were my role model. I remember, you know, you guys playing in Quebec, and I'm a big Montreal Canadiens fan, and you know what, I watch you really closely. Peter, you were one of my favorite players. I played with your curve like for many, many years. I guess it worked. I would like to thank the IIHF Hall of Fame selection committees to include me with such a female greats, Angela James, Geraldinini, Camille Granato. It's a great honor to receive this award today. I never dreamt one day I would be inducted in the IIHF Hall of Fame. And this moment, I will cherish for a lifetime. I want to say a big thank you. Je voudrais dire un gros merci à ma famille, mes amis, pour m'avoir supporté le long de ma carrière. Et mon neveu qui est ici aujourd'hui, Jonathan, pour célébrer cette journée spéciale avec moi. As a player, you have to have good support of a family, friends, to be able to get through adversity throughout your career. I was lucky enough, I played with great players, great teams, and had the honor to play for great coaches during my career that allowed me to show my talent. One of them is here today, Melody Davidson, was one of the coaches who pushed me to be the best I can be by challenging me to be better year after year. As Canadian, I had the opportunity to play for Hockey Canada, a federation that expects the best of you every time you step on the ice. I would also like to thank the University of Calgary, who made sure that I continued in the game, offering me a coaching job when I finished playing. Their faith in me has opened a new set of challenges, opportunities, but most of us, it allowed me to stay in the game I love. When I look back at the game at the beginning of my career in 1991, and if I compare it to the game as today, it's such a different in the level. It's night and day. We as pioneer, we have a lot of work to do to make the game better around the world. But I believe if we work together and we have the support of the IIHF, we will succeed. Thank you and have a great day.
Our next inductee is the recipient of the highest IIHF individual honor not given to a player or coach. I worked with this man for over a decade on Canadian television. From Edmonton, Canada, Gord Miller. Miller is being honored with the Paul Loicq Award for outstanding contributions to international hockey. Working for the Canadian television network TSN, Miller has been a major part of the network's coverage of the IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship for 18 years. First working as a presenter and interviewer, Miller assumed match commentary, play-by-play, in 2002 for the tournament that has become a Christmas season tradition for Canada. Miller has called some of Canada's finest international hockey accomplishments, not only at the World Junior Championship, but also at the World Championship, Women's World Championship, and other Hockey Canada events. Gord is known for his knowledge of the game, his extensive contacts in the hockey world, and his authoritative and smooth play-by-play. But for millions of Canadians, he's simply the voice of the World Junior Championship. The winner of this year's Paul Loicq Award for outstanding contributions to international hockey, Gord Miller. To formally present the Paul Loicq Award, we have a man who, like millions of other Canadians, has watched Gord's work for many years. The difference being, just a slight one, that this man is the president of Hockey Canada and also an IIHF vice president. So he's a harsh critic. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Nicholson.
Thank you, Paul. And Paul was part of this partnership that started off with Hockey Canada and TSN. And first of all, to all the inductees this year, congratulations. What a great class it is. And Gord, growing up in Edmonton, you hung around with the stars. You hung around with Wayne Gretzky, Yuri Curry, Messier, and the gang. But Gord got behind the mic and in front of the camera at 16 years old. He started his own sports program with a cable company, and it just grew from there. You started in Munich at the Men's World Championship. You're in Sweden in the Men's World Championship in 1995. But it really started with the World Juniors. And Gord, what you've done for the game in Canada through the World Juniors, it has grown into a huge tradition. At Christmas time, everyone has turkey, and they turn on the TV set to watch TSN. And this tradition goes a lot further. Sarah's in the crowd here today, his lovely wife. Daughter, Blair, who's 8 years old, has already been to 6 World Juniors. I think that's part of the Miller tradition. So, Sarah, thank you for giving all your time to allow Gord to come and announce TSN to Canadians, but now it's really about announcing it to the world. We have got an agreement with the International Ice Hockey Federation that goes till 2021. Gord, you got a lot more Christmases away. You've done so much. You've done women's hockey, you've done World Cups, you're the top broadcaster in the National Hockey League, you're in Vancouver, and you've done so many other sports. Thank you, Gord, for making our game better, and you know what, we're going to make sure that we ink you in for a long-term deal, that you continue to do the World Juniors and do hockey worldwide. Gord, come on up here and get this great award.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for your friendship and support over the years. And it's great to have my friend and colleague, Paul Romanek, here. It makes it very special to have you here, Paul. Thank you. Here you go. First of all, to the IIHF, thank you for this honor, and to the Hall of Fame class of 2013, congratulations. You are so deserving. Mats, Peter, Teppo, and Danielle. I had the great pleasure to call hundreds of your games over the years. You are great role models for those who follow you, and well-deserving. And Paul, I'm proud to say I cheered for you in 1972, but I'm prouder to call you a friend today. And the world will never forget what you did on the ice, but I think it's your life after hockey that's truly an inspiration, so congratulations to you. Janaki, congratulations for all your work behind the scenes. And to Boris, pozdravlenia. It's the best I can do in Russian, I'm learning. I want to start by thanking my wife, Sarah, who Bob mentioned. In 1998, at Christmas time, we just started dating. We went on our first trip together to the World Junior Championship in Winnipeg. In 2001, December, I proposed to her and left the next day for the World Junior Championship in the Czech Republic. In December of 2004, our daughter was born, and I left a few days later for the World Junior Championship in Grand Forks, North Dakota. So, as you can see, international hockey has been a big part of Sarah's life, whether she wanted it to be or not. So, Sarah, thank you for all that you do to make our life so wonderful. I'm pretty sure that when we started out, spending Christmases in hotel rooms around the world wasn't what you had in mind. But you always make it home, not just for our family, but for all those who are away from their families, and make it feel special for all of us. Thank you, and I love you. The IIHF is also today recognizing my colleagues at TSN who have spent the last 30 years bringing international hockey to Canadians and people around the world. We began in 1984 with a World Cup game or Canada Cup game, and it's been, international hockey has become a big part of our identity ever since, and we're very proud of that. I think that my colleagues would say that bringing the World Junior Championship to Canadians and fans around the world has been perhaps the event with which we're most associated. I know that's the case for me. The World Junior Hockey Championship is incredibly popular in Canada, but I think the most gratifying thing is to see how it grows around the world. In Russia last year in Ufa, sold out crowds, and we at TSN can't wait to come to Malmo this Christmas for what will be, I'm sure, a great event and one of the most anticipated and important events on the hockey calendar. I do feel strange accepting an award like this because you're honoring me for doing something that I love, and I can never give back to international hockey even close to what it's given to me. It's through this great game that I've made so many friends around the world who are here today, and so many friends that gather together every holiday season to commiserate in the spirit of community and friendship and to share our love of the game and to learn about the differences that make us unique, but more importantly, the similarities that bring us together and make us a true community. It's also through this game that we learn so much. Hockey is a game of skill and finesse and toughness and heart, and we see that with our inductees in this year's class. But when we watch these players compete at the very highest level for national pride in the most important competitions they'll face, when it's over, they line up and shake hands with each other and congratulate their opponent on a game well played and look forward to meeting again in the arena of friendly competition. No other sport does that. And I think that's what sets hockey apart as what Matt said, the greatest game in the world. So to my friends at the IIHF, to Dr. Vizell and Simon, thank you for all that you've done to honor me here today. I'll never forget this award. It means the world to me. To my family, for your love and support. To my colleagues, for your support and friendship, thank you. And most of all, to this game, which has given me so much and given us all so much, which enlightens us, which teaches us, which entertains us and exhilarates us. Good luck to the two teams tonight. Congratulations to the inductees, and thank you very much.
But two observations. First of all, God only knows what a wonderful woman your wife is, as the first date was taking her to Winnipeg. That's due respect to Winnipeg. Lovely place, but not at that time of year, it's not. Just want to take a moment here to tell you about a generous program initiated by today's inductees. Their ceremony-worn jerseys are being donated to a charity of their choice and being made available for an online bidding auction, with the proceeds going to their said charity, their designated charities. You can find full details at iihf.com/auction if you'd like to get involved in that very, very worthy cause. It is now my pleasure to introduce the president of the International Ice Hockey Federation, and just as importantly today, René, the chairman of the IIHF Historical Committee, Mr. René Fissel.
Well, another great day for hockey, ladies and gentlemen. Monsieur le Président, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished and honored guests. We have actually a truly amazing class of inductees today, and it is my honor to host you here this afternoon. And I would like to congratulate you for being inducted to the IIHF Hall of Fame, which now boasts 189 greats from 22 countries. You all have committed your lives to the game. You have displayed excellence first on the ice and in the recent years off it. It is also a bit ironic that most of you, in one way or another, have a connection to Stockholm. My great friend, Jan-Åke Edvinsson, started his work in hockey just next door from where we are today. Mats Sundin took his first strides on a hockey ring in Sollentuna, just north of Stockholm. Paul Henderson and his team Canada became a real team at the Hovet Arena in 1972 before heading to Moscow, and Peter Forsberg made life very, very difficult for the two Stockholm teams anytime he came down here with his motor club. Stockholm was also the place of one of the most amazing events in the history of international ice hockey. In 1954, at Stockholm's Olympic Stadium, a few kilometers north from here, the Soviet team appeared for the first time in an international competition. Imagine, the first game that the Soviet team played in the 1954 World Championship was the first official international game they ever played, and they won gold. It is for defining moments like these that IIHF introduced the Milestone Trophy to recognize and honor great teams and unforgettable moments. As president of the IIHF, chairman of the IIHF Historical Committee, but first and foremost as a hockey fan, I'm proud to be able to honor you all in this wonderful ceremony. Thank you very much.
The IIHF Hall of Fame Milestone Trophy goes to the 1954 Soviet World Championship team. Coach Arkady Chernyshov and great players like Vsevolod Bobrov, who scored 8 goals and was named tournament MVP, led a Soviet team to a shocking 7-2 win over the favored Canadians on the final day of the 1954 World Championship in Stockholm. To many, this date and this win by this group of players signified the beginning of the modern international hockey era. Although they played the game within their borders for several years, the 1954 World Championship was the first international appearance by the Soviet Union. And they didn't just beat Canada, they totally picked them apart. It was 4-0 after one period. It was 7-1 after 2 periods. They won 7-2. It was gold for the Soviets, the first major accomplishment by one of the game's greatest nations, and the start of one of the greatest international rivalries in sports. In so many ways, this is the team that changed the dynamic of international ice hockey forever, the 1954 Soviet World Championship team. To accept this Milestone Award, which honors defining moments and great teams in international ice hockey, we are honored with the presence of a man who was one of the great players on one of the greatest lines in the history of the game. To watch the line of Boris Mikhailov, Vladimir Petrov, and Valery Harlamov was to watch artists at work. It's been said that many victories are hacked from stone with great effort. But the goals that this line created were not hacked, but rather beautifully carved, like art. Boris Mikhailov was 10 years old when the great Soviet team we are commemorating today won the World Championship, actually only a very short distance from here. And that win inspired him to become a great champion himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Boris Mikhailov.
Дорогие друзья, дорогие номинанты хоккейной славы, уважаемые гости. Я хочу в первую очередь поздравить номинантов хоккейной славы за то проявление в играх за свои национальные команды на первенство мира и Олимпийских играх. Хочется порадоваться за Пола Хендерсона, который не в далеком прошлом, 40 лет назад, был моим соперником. Прошло 40 лет, Пол, а нас помнят, и мы неплохо выглядим. Я понимаю, как испытывают новые номинанты хоккейной славы. Я такие же чувства испытывал в 2000 году, когда меня вводили в зал хоккейной славы и моих товарищей Владимира Петрова и Великого Харламова. Я также горд, что Федерация хоккея России сегодня доверила мне получить приз команде, которая сполохнула в Советском Союзе хоккей с шайбой. Я благодарен президенту Рене Фазелу и Комитету истории хоккейной славы за ту оценку деятельности нашей команде 1954 года. В лице этой команды канадский хоккей увидел своих соперников, и довольно не слабых. Мы внесли что-то новое, вернее не мы, а команда 1954 года внесла что-то новое в методику игры и учебно-тренировочный процесс. Мне было всего 10 лет в 1954 году, когда мои родители стали говорить о этой победе. И я впервые в 1954 году встал на коньки и стал заниматься серьезно хоккеем. Эту команду возглавляли профессор хоккея Аркадий Иванович Чернышов и вулкан хоккея, великий тренер Антон Леонидович Тарасов. Прошло ровно 15 лет, и мне посчастливилось, что эти люди, Аркадий Иванович Чернышов, Антон Леонидович Тарасов, руководили мной как игроком национальной команды. В той великой команде был капитаном великий хоккеист Всеволод Михайлович Бобров. Он не только был великим хоккеистом, но и великим футболистом. Момент. Так. Еще раз большое спасибо президенту Рене Фазелу, комитету славы за ту оценку деятельности той команды 1954 года, потому что эти люди и все здесь сидящие номинанты прославляли наш хоккей и сделал этот вид спорта одним из лучших в мире. Спасибо.
And now for our next inductee, a man being honored in the very important Builders category. From Trula, Ljungby, Sweden, Janaki Edmondson. Janaki Edmondson is responsible for the modern IIHF. Edvinsson oversaw hockey's governing body as the Federation's highest executive for 21 years, 1986 to 2006, longer than any other general secretary in IIHF history. When Janaki assumed the position of leadership, the IIHF had 34 member nations, oversaw a tournament program of 8 events, and a budget of 3.5 million francs. During his tenure, Janaki served as a mentor to René Fissel and was crucial in starting to develop the IIHF's relationship with the National Hockey League. It was under the team of Fissel and Edvinsson that the NHL and the IIHF established the historic agreement to ensure the best on best at the Winter Olympic Games. When Edvinsson left the IIHF in 2006, he left an organization of 64 member nations overseeing 29 international tournaments and a budget of 50 million Swiss francs. The architect of the modern IIHF, Janaki Edmondson. To honor Janaki and officially induct him into the IIHF Hall of Fame is a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame in the Builders category, a former NHL player, and for 2 decades, a trusted colleague of Janaki's on the IIHF Council. My pleasure is to introduce Mr. Murray Costello.
Thank you, Paul. Inductees, very special guests. It's a pleasure to be here among the international hockey family again. The question has been asked of me, why would anyone consider an administrator for induction into any Hockey Hall of Fame simply for showing up for work for 20 years? Well, here in Sweden, let me suggest to you that among all of the great things that happen on the ice, there's an awful lot of good for our game that has happened off the ice and behind the scenes. And I speak for one of those persons today. Janaki Edmondson joined the IIHF in 1986 when the offices were in Vienna. He walked into a difficult situation with Walter Wasservogel aging and with a very ill wife at the time. And both of them had to answer to a headstrong German president by the name of Dr. Günther Sawicki. Janaki managed to weather that very well, made it work, took over the administrative duties, but was just getting nicely settled when he had to move his family again because the Congress thought the offices would be better located in Zurich, Switzerland. So he moved the whole operation to Zurich while still carrying out the day-to-day functions of the secretary and the growing number of national federations joining the game. He got in there at a rental place on the 5th floor of a building just off the downtown in Zurich, and he outgrew that very quickly as the business and the promotion and the education and the coaching started to really build internationally. He had to move twice, first to a smaller heritage building, which he thought was going to be the destination for the rest of his career, only to find a few years later he outgrew that too. People working in cubbyholes in the basement, we were growing so quickly and so well, that he then managed with the president, current president, to move to our beautiful heritage site now over the hill off the downtown in Zurich with a special building on the side to house the additional staff. Janaki did that easily, he did it well. And you know, during those times, I lived those 20 years with Janaki, and I must tell you that when he was first hired, it was bothersome because Canada liked its place near the top of the international game, and Sweden was coming on strong with some great individual talent. And I was thinking in my own mind, all I need is a general secretary who would be making decisions that would favor Sweden at the expense of Canada. But this time, after all these years, I can honestly say, and I'm happy to say publicly, Janaki, that there never was a time, not even once, when Janaki made a decision that showed any degree of favoritism towards Sweden. As a matter of fact, Sweden might have a case in saying that they had to do everything right to the letter in order to get his support because he wasn't going to be seen as that kind of administrator. I always appreciated that, and to this day, I have great admiration and respect for the way you handled that, Janaki. But perhaps the biggest contribution he's made to our game was when the presidency changed and we were rewarded, if that's the proper word, with a brash young former referee from Freiburg, Switzerland, who liked to make quick decisions and didn't like to bother that much with the details. As he traveled the world in his new position, we were very fortunate that he somehow made the decision to have Janaki travel with him. And everywhere he went, there seemed to be some person or some group that would come to him and say, we have an idea of how to really grow the game in this part of the world. And of course, with the sell came an investment by the IIHF of considerable dollars, or francs, or whatever you call it. It was that time, at that moment, in those discussions, that Janaki would step forward. I often referred to him as the soothing voice of sober second thought. He would say, just a minute, ladies and gentlemen, your proposal is very interesting. The president is very interested, but we cannot give you an immediate decision. We will sleep on this overnight and come back to you in the morning and give you our answer. And together, Rene and Janaki would go to dinner, and Janaki would point out the concerns. What about our cash flow? If we do this here, what will we have to do over there? If we get involved, will we have to put somebody on the board to follow our money? What are we going to do? Rene, think about this. And invariably, most often, the next morning, President Vassell would announce to them, ladies and gentlemen, your proposal is interesting. We would like to support it, but you're going to have to get more done at the local level before the IIHF can become involved with you. So you do that, and we will come back and support you at a later date. And for that reason, primarily, the finances of the International Ice Hockey Federation have remained healthy and strong, and we can be thankful to Janaki for that. And for that reason, more than any other, perhaps he's a most worthy candidate to join this very select group today. And if I know Janaki, and I do know him well, he would prefer to send his good wife Grreat up here to receive it, because she's the sober second thought of decisiveness in their home and what happens there, and his son Thomas, and now their grandchild that they're enjoying so much. But Janaki, you had the title, you earned the accolades, so I'm going to ask you to come forward and take your rightful place with the honored inductees today in the builder category of the International Ice Hockey Federation Hall of Fame. Janaki.
Dear ice hockey friends, I didn't know that I was that good. But it's very trustful people, Murray and René, so I have to believe it in it myself too. It's a great pleasure and a great honor to come here on the stage together with such superstars, Mats, Peter, Paul, and all the others. I want to congratulate you for being inducted today. It's really a strong feeling. And as everybody else say, we have to thank our wives. I had only one. Next year she was my wife 50 years. So it will be a new celebration. Birgitta and Thomas, without your support, I could not have been here today. You helped me always, although I was very much on the road and spent a lot of time for ice hockey. But I liked it very much, and I'm really happy for taking that choice to go out from the computer business I was in already at the beginning of the 70s and start to work with sport and ice hockey. It has been a great pleasure for me. I was in Sweden a member of a small organization called Backstage Society. And that is what this was about. We worked only behind the scene a lot, but had fun, and that was an excellent way for me to keep staying in sport. Although I never scored a goal in ice hockey, I had very much fun. At that time, I had no idea that I should ever come into any Hall of Fame. Today, it's the third time I'm inducted. First in Germany, German Ice Hockey Federation's Hall of Fame, I'm a member, or inducted, and also Slovenian Ice Hockey Hall of Fame, and now International Hall of Fame. It's very exciting. Murray, it was very nice words you said, but I think a lot of them also belongs to René. First of all, this friendship worked out together with us all the years, and the way we ran it together, I didn't do all this Murray said. It was really a great part, René. He was the creative one, and I tried to say, as Murray said, we stop it up for a while. We cannot fly Concorde every day. Had to constantly see which way we should go and sleeping on it over the night. And we did it many times. And I really very much like the time I worked together with you. And I especially thanks to you, René. I had also some other friends in the IIHF Council, Murray, we had Joe Tomita, Walter Bush, and all other friends. That has been a great pleasure for me to work with all of you. I also had some in the Swedish Ice Hockey Association, the late Arne Grunander and Rickard Fagerlund. I wish that they could have been here today. But we have Bo Tovland representing these guys. Bo, it was a great pleasure also to work together with you for all these years. You were already in Swedish Association when I came in there in 1972. Thank you, Bo, for all what we could do together. We had also a very good relationship with our marketing partner, at that time CWL, today named In Front. It was great to work also with you. The question about all the money, it was a lot thanks to you. We received the money and we used them in quite a right way. That was also a great pleasure. So I am happy that I have been in this family for so long, and now we will continue our nice life, Birgitta and I, playing golf and tennis. Thank you very much, all of you.
Our next inductee, there's really no other way to put it, is he's a cultural icon in the country I come from, Canada. Everybody knows him. Any Canadian who's my age remembers exactly where they were on September 28th, 1972. They were in school. They were my age. There was no teaching going on. We were all sitting in classrooms. They wheeled in these great big black and white TVs, and we all watched, and we all waited, and we all held our breath as Canada played the final game of the 1972 Summit Series against the Soviet Union. From Kincardine, Ontario, Paul Henderson. Paul Henderson played a starring role in one of the greatest dramatic presentations in hockey history, the 1972 Summit Series between Canada and the Soviet Union. Henderson played on a line with Bobby Clarke and Ron Ellis, and the three complemented one another beautifully right from the start. But it was in Moscow where Henderson played the greatest 3 games of his life. With the team on the ropes and facing defeat, Henderson's Herculean efforts, scoring the winning goal in each of the last 3 games of the series, are still talked about. Particularly the winner in Game 7. Look at that, surrounded by 4 players, somehow he solves the puzzle and scores the winner. Henderson also played in the second Canada-Soviet series in 1974, which the Soviets won. But Henderson is best known for a moment no Canadian my age will ever forget. Game 8, dying seconds. Henderson made a wild stab at it and fell. Comes out in front again. Henderson scores for Canada with 34 seconds remaining. The hero of the most significant international hockey series ever played, Paul Henderson. Now this, Simon told you at the start, my colleague Simon, what a special day this was going to be, and this is really, really special. The man who's coming up to honor Mr. Henderson is, I can say indeed, a man of honor. He was the goalie on whom Henderson scored the goal. Can you imagine that? He's coming up to pay homage to the man, and they were in this great athletic competition. He is also, without question, the most decorated player in international hockey history. Listen to this: 3 Olympic gold medals, an Olympic silver medal, and 10 world championships. He played in his first world championship when he was an 18-year-old boy in the Hovet Arena, which is just a short distance from here. I'm not sure exactly of my Swedish geography, but it's that little building just outside the globe. And he won gold. It's my privilege to introduce Mr. Vladislav Tretiak.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like congratulations for his induction today. I watch video now, bad goalie, too much goal for me. Dear friends, it's a special day for me today because I'm going to introduce 100% professional player. And what is most important for me, my friend, a very good person. I was playing against Paul Henderson in 1972, where USSR met with the best Canadian team. Then, in 1974, for second series, I also remember him when play some other mutual international games. 4 years ago, the Soviet team was playing against the best hockey players of Canada. For me, they were the most exciting games. I was played totally 8 games, 4 games in Canada, 4 games in Soviet Union. I remember all games, first game, last game. I remember games number 6, number 7. You score a winning goal. I never forget you score for me and the amazing goal in the game number 8. I think God gave him these chances for his talent and hard work. So now I have the pleasure to say that Paul Henderson, please come and join me in stage to accept your induction to the IIHF Hall of Fame. Please.
Well, Mr. Tretiak, thank you very, very much. And most importantly, thank you for letting me score that last goal. I've been riding that one goal for 40 years, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been a nice ride. I'd also like to say to Boris also, thank goodness that you had a great line of Kharlamov, yourself, and Petrov, because our line was basically sent out to try to slow you guys down a little bit. And so we got to play all 8 games. And so, you know, it's ironic as you look back over your life. In 1972, we just thought it was going to be a wonderful time. We were going to win all 8 games and send the Russians back, and they would never, ever want to play us again. And then things turned badly for us in that first game, and we found out they were just so gifted and talented. And then it almost became war. And in the end, it was war, basically, because we felt it was our way of life against their way of life. And to be quite frankly, we didn't like them very much. And I can remember Phil Esposito saying to this man right down here, I didn't like you very much. And Boris said, well, I didn't like you very much either. But the good news is over the years, we've gotten to know each other. And Vladdy and I do a card show in Toronto, usually every year. And you know, we found out we should have hated their system and not them, because they're just great guys, trying to keep a wife happy, raise kids, and a lot of us now grandchildren, and boy, is it ever great to be a grandfather. You know, I love what Tony Campola said about grandchildren. He said, grandchildren are the reward for not killing your own kids. And I've got 7 grandchildren today, and so I am so honored to be here today and be inducted in this prestigious hall. It's just absolutely, it couldn't have worked out better for me. And obviously, to be inducted with my colleagues down here, what a great day it is for me and for my wife. There's a lot of people that you need to thank, and time doesn't come at all, but I also have a wife of 50 years. I've been married, and my wife, Eleanor, I would give her more credit than anyone else in the world for helping me become the person that I am today. This woman made our home an oasis for myself and my family away from hockey, and she has just been the love of my life. We met when we were 15 and 16, and the 4th time I took her out, I told her I was going to marry her, and she said, "You are the most arrogant person I've ever met in my life." And so for the next 4 years, I never proposed. I just said, "I'm going to marry you. I'm going to marry you." And so finally she married me, and I married so far over my head, it's a joke. It really is. And so, Eleanor, I love you so much, and I just thank you for our wonderful 54 years together. But I can also tell you I was diagnosed with lymphocytic lymphoma chronic leukemia in November of '09. And when you get cancer, you want to mate beside yourself, and boy, she has been above and beyond incredible. In fact, she was the one that was really instrumental in getting me into a clinical trial back in September of last year. I was down 20 pounds. I had a growth in my stomach the size of a grapefruit, and she got me into a clinical trial in Bethesda, Maryland. And 7 months later, I have put on 20 pounds. The tumor is now the size of the end of my finger. And once again, it was Eleanor that really got that through. And so thank you very much, my sweetheart. You know, I've been so fortunate over the years. I've always played with better people than I was on the line. My center iceman, Norm Ullman, was my center iceman for 8 straight years. The last 3 years that I was in Detroit, Normie and I were traded to Toronto Maple Leafs, and then I was 5 years. He was my center iceman in Toronto, and then Ronnie Ellis joined us, and what a treat it is to be able to play with a couple of your great buddies and play with just great hockey players. And then '72 came along, and they put Bobby Clark in between Ronnie Ellis and I, and we were really fortunate. We were the only line that played all 8 games, and without those two, I would never be standing here today, and so I am so thankful for them. But you know, as you get a little older in life, you recognize that it's so great to have great friends. And I am so thankful for 2 of my best buddies in the world that have come over here, spent a week with me, and Les and Lynette McFarland, great friends, and Steve and Cheryl and Katie Holmes are here spending this time with us. And I thank you so much for coming over and being such inspirational people in my life. And I've got my grandson, 23-year-old grandson with me, Brandon. And what a treat it is to have you here and be acknowledged and on this. But you know, Matt, I always wondered why you wore number 13. And I just saw that it's your birthday. It's the 13th. And so, yeah, so I figured that was it. But I'll tell you what, I always wore 19, but I'm seriously thinking of changing to 13. 2013, you know, Team Canada, we were inducted in the Walk of Fame in Toronto. I got the Order of Canada here just a little while ago. I was put in I received the Order of Hockey in Canada, and now this. 13 is a great number, big boy. I'm going to take it up from here. Thank you.
Oh, man. As an aside, it's one of those moments you just have to shake your head if I may indulge you. But my 2 boyhood heroes as a kid were Tretiak, who was my favorite goalie, and Henderson, who was my favorite player. I was 10 years old, and to be here when they're both on the stage, it's something I can't believe, really. And I can't believe it is also a phrase that was uttered very, very often by teammates and opponents alike when our next and final inductee this afternoon decided that he was going to go to work. From Unskoldvik, Sweden, Peter Forsberg. From a young age, this boy was destined for greatness. His vision, his ability to dominate a game, his creativity, amazing. The most creative and spectacular goal in Olympic history, the stamp goal, the shootout gold medal winning goal in the '94 Olympics. Forsberg won Olympic gold, World Championship gold, and the Stanley Cup. That's the triple gold club. He did this twice. 2 Olympic gold, 2 World Championships, and 2 Stanley Cups. Remember 2003? World Championship against Finland? Look at this. From one end, down to the other. Gets the goal, starts the Swedish comeback from a 5-1 deficit. Remember this? Forsberg to Sundin to Lidström. Bang! 3 Swedish hockey gods combine on Sweden's Olympic gold medal winning goal in 2006. Decorated, admired, and today in the IIHF Hall of Fame, Peter Forsberg. Now, Peter, you were a lucky man for a number of reasons, but to formally induct you into the Hall of Fame, we have one of Sweden's greatest athletes. After she started competing at the senior level, that's the senior level, she never, ever lost a heptathlon competition. Never. Her ability to finish was as great as Forsberg's. Olympic gold, 3-time world champion, 2-time European champion. And she looks as though she should still be competing. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Carolina Klüft.
Thank you, and congratulations to all of you. It is an honor for me to be here today. I have met you a few times, Peter, but I cannot say that I know you very well. However, it is amazing to see how a person that you don't know that well still can teach you a lot and be such an inspiration. Before I welcome you up, I want to give you 2 of my most memorable lessons that you have taught me during your career. The first one is not a victorious game or a great score, but what I really admire about you is your passion. When you were injured, you showed both passion and determination to get back to the sport that you love so much. And you definitely proved that it's possible. But you also showed courage. Courage to say, well, now enough is enough. Now it's time to move on. And that taught me that to move on can never be a failure. The other memory is a victorious game. It is a great score that we just saw. Because in 2003, I was on training camp on Cyprus. Me and my friends found a bar to watch the quarterfinal between Sweden and Finland. After half of the game, Finland was leading on their home arena with 5-1. It seemed impossible for Sweden to turn this around. But you and your teammates showed the opposite. The turning came, and with only 11 minutes left of the game, you saw the great score. Peter, coming from his own goalie, crossing the 3 zones, went around their goal and scored. And for a 20-year-old girl going for her first World Championship that summer, that really taught me how important it is to fight until the end, to never give up, even if it looks difficult, to believe in yourself, and then anything is possible. So thank you so much for all the inspiration. Well, now it's time for me to welcome up one of the greatest athletes Sweden has ever seen to accept his induction to the IIHF Hall of Fame, Peter Forsberg.
Wow, thank you, Carolina. That was very nice words. Let's see if I get the jersey on here. I don't have my date of birth on my jersey. I don't know. The trainer got it wrong. I'm born on 20th, not the 21st. Anyway, it's a great honor for me to be up here, to be inducted to the International Ice Hockey Federation's Hall of Fame. And congrats to the other inductees, Mats, Paul, Teppo, Danielle, Jan-Åke, and Gord, and the boys for your great careers. And today, I'd like to say, I always enjoyed playing in the big tournaments. Actually, I loved playing in the big tournaments. I played 9 big tournaments, 4 Olympics and 5 World Championships. I don't count the World Juniors, Gord, because I always argue with Joe Sakic and who won the most things. And he won the World Junior, and I didn't. And we argued the whole time, and it's borderline because I was ahead of him, so I gave it to him in '98 when we won the World Championship. I said, okay, you can count that one. It was even. But then in 2002, he won the Olympics, and so I was behind again. So it's not. So I tried to take it away, but then I admitted that I counted one time. But then came along 2006, and Matt's talked about the great memories and being a teammate and playing together for such a long time. And as one of my best memories, I remember so clearly. We stood at the face-off. It was 2-2 after the second period, and right after face-off, the Matt screamed, "Go!" And I knew right away he didn't mean go home. He meant go as fast as you can. Because I played with him, I heard him in his voice, like something happened, and I took the puck into the blue line and dropped to the mats, and I was trying to get him, just a short shot, trying to get in front of net, and I decided not to go in front of net. Thank God Lidström would have killed me with that shot if I would have went in front. But it ended up that Koivu broke his stick. That's what Mats yelled, and that's, I think, with Mats, just give you some credit here. You were an unbelievable captain on the teams I played with. Every time I played with you in the Worlds or Olympics, we won the gold. And for him to be a leader, I was just trying to follow your lead. And when you screamed "go" that night, that was unbelievable. I could give Joe a call after that night saying, it's tied again. So, thanks for that. But I got to win 4 big championships, 2 World Championships and 2 Olympic goals. But the one, it's pretty tight. But the one that stood out the most, I think, when I won the '98 the World Championship, because we won the gold there in Zurich, and my father was the coach, and it was pretty special to stand there on the ice with your father, and you know how much your parents meant to you when you grew up, and being on the ice and winning, and you're standing there for your country. I know my mom was probably jumping up and down on the couch at home, but she didn't make it down to the finals. But I just want to say that my dad meant a lot. Also, my mom was unbelievable support for me even growing up. So thank you so much. And then. I just want to say thank you to my brother Roger too. We always played in the basement hockey. We played on the street. We played actually everywhere. It was always a fight. And I apologize, Roger, right now that you never got to win, though. But still a chance. We're still not too old. And then I like to say for my fiance Nicole and my son Lennox, I hope you and me, Nicole, you and me can be as good as parents as my parents were to me. And I think that it's because of you then, because it's not going to be because of me. I know you're going to have to take care of the kids, and you do an unbelievable great job of it. So thanks for being there. It's been a couple of tough years, retiring and all that with the injury, but you've been there, and I'm going to love you for the rest of my life. And to my teammates, coaches, GMs, owners, I hope I haven't troubled you so much throughout my career. Then I would like to send some thoughts to our friend and my longtime agent, Don Beasley, who's back in Winnipeg battling a bad disease. And I really hope, and I think everybody here hopes, he comes out as a winner. He's my agent for such a long time, and a better person than him you cannot find. So I hope you win that battle. So thanks again. I think that's it, because I'm going to have to go watch Sweden and try to win another gold.
Peter, there you go. Peter was always an incredibly strategic player. And man, talk about a little bit of strategy. Already laying down the "you'll be looking after the kid" card right away and publicly. We'll see how that turns out. All right, to officially close what has been a wonderful ceremony, the International Ice Hockey Federation Hall of Fame ceremony for 2013. It's my pleasure to introduce to you a man who, over the years, has been a tremendous friend to sports, but particularly a tremendous friend to our sport, the sport we're all here to honor and the sport we love, ice hockey. The president of the International Olympic Committee, Mr. Jacques Rogge.
Prime Minister, dear friends, first announcement, I'm not a member of the hockey family. However, I have a special affection for your sport. One of the best parts of being the president of the International Olympic Committee is that you're invited to the 28th Summer World Championships and the 7th Winter, and unavoidably you hear our sport is the best one, and to quote Gord Miller, no other sport can give what ours does. However, I'm a former modest rugby player, this other incomparable contact sport. And I believe that I can understand your feelings and the love of your sport. Because there are many similarities between rugby and hockey. Both are contact sports. Both have this sense of brotherhood, fraternity after the match. In both cases, you shake hands, and you respect each other. And there is also one similarity between the two sports, is that at times, both teams switch from their game to the noble art of boxing. An induction ceremony is the occasion to look to the past and to remember golden moments. And I had many golden moments watching ice hockey. I was in the Olympic Stadium in '94 in Lillehammer when I saw that incredible goal, one-handed by Peter Forsberg. I was also the next year here in the Globe in '95, and I will not dwell too long on the result. Let's go to another subject. I had the privilege to award the gold medal to Mats and Peter in Torino. And I had, unfortunately, also the duty to console my good friend Saku Koivu. And then the climax, Vancouver, this fantastic goal of Sidney Crosby, to whom I also had the honor to award a gold medal. Let me now thank all the inductees. They are the ones who made us dreaming. But they are the ones who made us dreaming not only because of their marvelous performances, but also because they were role models, something that Caroline has really highlighted in a very good way. We admire you not only for what you did on the ice, we admire you for what you did in life and the example you gave to the young generation. And thanking the inductees, I would like also, in particular, to thank Jan-Åke Edvinsson, with whom I've worked so much for the preparation of the games, of course, with my good friend René Fassel. And now a few words for the future. Sochi is 9 months ahead, and Sochi will be ready. And so will, I believe, the Russian team, because of the great influence of Vladislav Tretiak. I think you are preparing very hard to give us a very good show in Sochi. And my wish is also that the negotiations between the International Ice Hockey Federation and NHL might be successful to give the best ever hockey tournament in the history of the Olympic Games. Thank you very much.
Well, that concludes our show. What a great afternoon it's been, and what a great part you have played. Could we have one final round of applause for our 2013 induction class, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for your participation. You've been a wonderful audience. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.